What's up guys, thanks for tuning in on today's episode of Custom Car Reviews. I'm your host Gabe, and today we're going to be taking a look at this 2010 Camaro SS. Now before I begin the review, I want to give a little bit of backstory on this car. This car actually belongs to one of my dear friends, and I actually met him about 3.5 years ago. And when I actually was looking for a car back in 2016, I had seen this on Craigslist and thought, oh my god, this is awesome. This is how I want my Camaro to look like. And this is a car that basically got me into purchasing my car, like making the emotional and just going after buying my car, and eventually starting to mod the car the way I modded it. Getting behind the wheel of this car is very, very exciting and very thrilling for me. Not to mention that this is also a race car track capable Camaro. So it's a 6.2 liter LS3 engine, came with about 426 horsepower back in 2010. So the most noticeable performance mod that has been done to the engine also helps out with the sound that the car makes. This car is completely straight piped and is composed of OBX stainless steel headers, an H-pipe, and also these centerpiece exhaust tips that are absolutely gorgeous and really resembles that track and race car theme at least. And it's a really cool touch to have that centerpiece, because I've actually never seen too many Camaros with that. Actually, I haven't seen one in person at all. It also has a Verum intake that is actually connected right to the radiator, kind of like how you would see in the Corvette setups, and it's really cool. It has a very interesting design to it. Overall, this full bolt-on 6.2 liter V8 engine produces roughly 410 wheel horsepower, according to the owner. Also has the K&N oil breathers as well, very nice touch. And another performance mod that's very, very interesting, and I'm very curious to see how it feels. Actually, there's two of them, and that would be the short shifter and also the ZR1 twin ditch clutch and plate. That I'm very looking forward to see how it is when we actually drive the car. Let's get a sound clip of that 6.2 liter LS3 engine with a little bit of goodies attached to it. That is a clean startup. The neighbors must really, really like my friend. It really does sound like a race car, because it doesn't really sound like a muscle car too much. This is gonna be a fun drive, guys. So one of the things that the owner mentioned, that when he actually got the car, he knew that he was not gonna make that much crazy power, and I don't think a supercharger was really on the owner's mind. So he focused a lot on suspension modifications and how the car handles, and I'm very interested in seeing how that's gonna actually play a role, even though we're not really gonna do too many turns and too many corners here, because we don't really have that much access to that, and just to be respectful towards the owner. It's got polyurethane bushings for the rear trailing mount, the lower control arms, pretty much every single important suspension mod has polyurethane bushings on it, and the car, from what he's told me, rides amazingly. But before we actually get moving with the car, I want to take a little bit of the time to just appreciate just how cool this car is on the inside. So the first characteristic that makes this car very race car like is these OMP racing seats. Actually, racing seat. It's taking some time for me to adjust, and honestly, it's all part of the experience. So I'm really excited, because now I'm actually feel like I'm in a race car. This is really nice. It complements the red interior that this car has. Actually, this was the spec that I wanted to get, orange with red interior. And the passenger gets to enjoy the racing experience with these straps as well. It also has a roll bar in here with a fire extinguisher. So, I mean, this cannot get any more race car than that. He wanted to keep the car fairly daily drivable, and that's why he didn't actually take out the rear seats and kind of left them in place, because it's a little bit too raw to drive on a daily basis. On the center console, it has this like Camaro stitching that's really cool and very custom. I've actually never seen that on a 5th generation Camaro ever, so that's something that I actually wanted to buy from him. All of the gauge clusters down here, and also at the speedometer and tachometer, they all have this really nice orange and reddish cover that is really cool, because it matches with the car. So it's very clean as well for a car that is 10 years old essentially. And let's not forget the really cool appearance and aesthetic mods that have been done to the car. So starting from the front of the car, the owner put the ZL1 bumper that honestly looks amazing. I've always been a fan of the ZL1 bumper. And the owner has also added a little touch to the front, which is the Chevy flow tie that actually took him about 3 hours to make. It's stuff like that that really makes me appreciate the work work that has been done to this car and the amount of effort, which is really, really cool. It also has the Z28 style hood insert that, aside from looking really, really cool and giving the car, again, a very race car and sporty look, it's actually completely functional. A lot of the hot air exits out through that. And towards the sides, we notice that this car has Eurotech wheels that are 20 by 10s all around and fitted with 295 Nitto tires all around as well. So really, really cool stuff, very grippy as well. Further towards the side, we see these ZL1 style side skirts with a little bit of a custom touch to it that really, really, again, shows how much effort has gone into the car. And of course, towards the back, we see the blacked out tail light section, tinted tail lights as well, and we see this nice Z28 spoiler with a nice ZL1 style wicker bill. And it also has a satin black stripe that goes from the front of the car all the way to the trunk lid, and again, something that makes it look like a sports car and like a race car too. And also, of course, the beautiful orange on the outside that on days like this really, really makes it appreciate the car. You know, colors like these, like blue, orange, yellow, it really makes the car stand out 10 times more as opposed to a black or gray car. So really cool stuff. All right, guys, so without further ado, let's actually get this car on the road and start the review. So first impressions of the car, it's very, very stiff. And as I'm getting onto the highway now, I notice that the car does not shake whatsoever. All right, so now that we're on the highway, I think right now it's a good time to get our first pull. That is nice. So at lower RPMs, it's not as torquey, but I do notice that when it starts to climb, maybe past 4,500, the car just gets sent and it's crazy. And you know, for a completely track capable car, just driving it on the highway, I'm gonna put it in 6th gear right now, it's very manageable. And even though it is straight piped essentially, there's not too much drone that happens inside of the car. And it's actually very, very comfortable. The seat itself is a little bit tight for me, about 5'8", and I'm about 6'3" almost. So big difference in space and of course in body type. But right now I'm actually enjoying the ride very well. And let's do another pull right here. Get the windows down to hear a little bit of downshift. That sounds so good. And what's crazy is that you can actually see the wicker bill and the spoiler from the rear view mirrors, and they just look amazing. And of course, the beautiful orange color when the sun hits it, it just looks so awesome. And you can also appreciate all of the interior when the sun hits it as well too. So the overall vibe that this car has is just, it's beautiful. It's just awesome. So these are the stock Brembo brakes. So let's go ahead and test them out now. They brake really, really well. Obviously, I'm not going to come to a full stop on the highway, but just to get out of trouble and to maybe stop yourself from hitting another car on the highway, it does do its job very well. One thing I do want to make a comment is the ZR1 twin ditch clutch system and the short shifter. It feels so much different than a regular one, like my car, for example. I actually like it a lot, and I might consider getting a short shifter myself. Alright guys, so let's just do the last pull of the day and we'll head back. Oh my god. I'm hitting the speed limit, guys! Speed limit, speed limit! Holy crud! I definitely need more loud in my car. And we'll take turns here. Very, very stiff suspension. So that was actually a very, very conservative way of taking a corner, but I can already tell just how good of the handling this car has by just taking it that slow. All right, guys, so that concludes today's review. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative, just like how I enjoyed driving this car. What a crazy experience to get behind of a wheel of a track capable race car Camaro. Go ahead and leave your comments. What did you think of the car? What modifications would you do on your Camaro if you had one as well? Don't forget to like the video, guys. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm, really gets this car shown to the world. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in on today's video, and I'll catch you next time.